everybody, to the MrBoxingguru podcast. It is me, Sal, MrBoxingguru, and of course, like every podcast, that intro was from Los Anaya. It's Losanaya. Again, that's Los Anaya. Make sure you listen to them on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, wherever great music gets listened to. Guys, it's been a very long time. It's been, about a month now? I think I checked a minute ago. And there was just nothing to talk about. Let's be honest. There was, chismes and gossip and all these other conspiracy theories, and it's just been a very depressing time. We've all been home. Most of us have been home, the non-essential ones, with nothing to do. Yes, it could have been I could have used the podcast as an easy scapegoat, I guess you could say, to keep myself busy. But the fact of the matter is that, life goes on, and you got to find other ways that I think that are almost non-boxing related, that when you do come back to boxing, we have something to talk about. And of course, I just got done watching the ESPN fights, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about that in a quick second. But yeah, like I was saying, I've been doing nothing with boxing. I go into Twitter and Instagram, and it's mainly just, share memes and information with you guys as much as I can. But again, it's honestly been non-boxing related. I did get a chance to go to Robert Garcia, RGBA in Riverside, and just to take a look at the gym, and just see how they're going to prepare for life after COVID, or coexisting with COVID. And it was kind of neat to see Robert as being an ambassador as to what it should be to keep their gym clean. Most of my boxing folks or people that visit boxing know that boxing gyms are not the nicest place in the world, or the odorless place in the world. And Robert really looks like he has something good going. They practice a lot of social distancing. Not a lot of people are allowed in his gym. Even when it comes to his amateurs, the day I went, they were about to start opening up to the younger kids, especially since they're in Riverside. And it looks like they had a great handle of it. They make, the kids pre-wrap their hands and all this other stuff that just to try to eliminate or just not fuck with COVID or the Rona, as the young kids call it. As far as anything else boxing related, I haven't really been into it. If it is out there, I haven't really tried paying attention to it, because again, in these desperate times, people say a lot of crazy shit, and especially a lot of people call other people out, especially because they can't fight each other. But anyways, let's talk about today's fight. We saw Shakur Stevenson fight Felix Caraballo. And right away, as soon as we get a fight, I start hearing complaints. Oh, he's not fighting this, or this fight is that. And you know what? That's kind of the good thing of boxing. Of course, like I said, we saw Shakur Stevenson. He completely dominated Felix Caraballo, and I think it was sixth round when he stopped him, and finally with a body shot. But which I really wanted, because I remember I was on Twitter, and I was saying, you know what? Okay, we get it. At this point, we know that you're the superior athlete, you're the better fighter. But this is where when the boys separate from the men, you got to do something. Because the sixth round, and you just beating the shit out of this kid for the last 5 rounds, and the kid looks completely outclassed. He doesn't see the punches coming, so get rid of him. And that's exactly what Shakur did. So that's what separates him from the bunch. When you can see a guy like that just come in and start knocking people out, that's special. Not only because the thing with Shakur, he's a beautiful fighter, but yes, his fights could get a bit stale sometimes because he's not doing anything else. And again, if he doesn't have the power, I don't want to knock on him. But again, just the fact that he tried getting finishing the guy, I thought was special. And I think he had mentioned it before too. He's not supposed to be in there with guys like this. He's supposed to be in there, get them in, fight them, and then get rid of them. He knows that they're career builders, but they're not necessarily going to help him elevate himself to another level. He's just a fight. He was a body that he fought, And I'm okay with that right now because, again, things are just starting. Things are just starting uh, to progress. We don't know how we're going to move forward. We don't know if this COVID shit is just going to be here for, I mean, these restrictions are just going to be here for to the end of the year, to the end of the month. Again, everything keeps changing, especially here in Southern California where we're at. Everything changes every single day, so we don't know how much longer these smaller but multiple fights are going to continue to happen. But again, big shout out to Top Rank. What they did. The whole social distancing, cleaning the ropes, everything after cleaning the ring after every single fight. Not having people there. That I give them credit because no one in boxing has done it. We saw UFC do it to a lesser, more hillbilly-ish extent because we didn't. It almost seemed like they didn't give a fuck. When I saw UFC guys do it, some of the guys were wearing masks, some of them weren't. In boxing, it looks like they really try to be as careful as possible. And of course, as far as the fight schedule, I think June 11th, which is 2 days from now, Jesse Magdaleno fights. What is his name? Yenifel. Vicente, 36-4 fighter. Again, guys, don't expect big fights or fights that do not predetermine a winner within the next month or two. These are just fights to get these guys going again. We don't know how well they didn't respect the rules and stayed away from the gym, but we just need. I think boxing as a whole needs to know how prepared these fighters are, how well they train, because again, let's be honest, nobody had to be in the gym for the last 3 months, and the fact of the matter is that these fighters had to somehow sneak away or to train at home or pretend to board the doors from a gym and go in through the back, whatever they had to do, but they actually had to continue training and give us these great fights. But again, let's move on. Again, like I said, Jesse Magdaleno fights this Thursday on the 16th. Joshua Greer versus Mark Planey. Again, all these fights are on ESPN. Same night, Giovanni Santillán versus Antonio DeMarco. Of course, we always look forward to Antonio DeMarco because he's been dead for the last 10 years. And somehow he resurrects and gives a great performance every once in a while. So look out for that. Jose Pedraza versus, Miko Lespierre on June 8th. Gabe Flores fights on that undercard as well. Again, big Northern California sensation. June 20th from TV Azteca from Mexico City. Manuel Navarrete is fighting a guy with as much wins as he has losses. So expect to see Navarrete continue to how can you say it? Just continue to fight lesser opponents. I get it. They're keeping him busy. He's a big guy. He's a big frame. I don't see how long else he's going to continue at that weight. But again, the more we see Navarrete, I guess the better. He's a brutal puncher and he's must-see TV, throwback fighter. He's everything you want to see in a rugged Mexican fighter. Reminds me of a lesser, smaller Margarito. I've always said that Navarrete se cuadra, which means he kind of stands still. There's no angles to him, but there's a reason to his madness. To his madness, he could get away with it. He's that much stronger than his opponent, so it's okay to sometimes throw technique out the way because he has that type of power. Of course, in the beginning of next month, July, I believe 2nd or 4th, but 4th of July weekend, we had Jamel Herring that is fighting Oquendo, and that's on ESPN2. Of course, Jamel Herring, All-American guys, Marine, and again, signed with Top Rank, beat the odds, got the belt, was a PBC fighter, ended up, jumping ship to Top Rank, and Top Rank reinvented his career, and then this is what America is all about feel-good stories, about not just giving up on somebody when they're done, or when they lose, but the feel-good story is great with Jabril, great guy. And then I believe the the All-American Instagram model was supposed to fight that weekend, but God knows what's happening now, because I'm sure you guys heard Ryan on Instagram. And as a matter of fact, I was going to do this podcast. As a matter of fact, I started doing the podcast last night, but there was so much shit going on Twitter with people complaining, specifically Ryan. It almost seems like it's almost embarrassing, because he's, as much as I hate to talk about him, we have to talk about Ryan. He is a persona in boxing, whether you want to see him win or lose. He's a persona. The thing is, he's a persona in boxing that hasn't matched or is not equivalent to what he is as a fighter in boxing. And he brings up great topics of conversation. It's almost fun to follow Ryan Garcia around, and then follow his dramatic bullshit. It's embarrassing in a way, as I'll say it, as a Mexican American fan, seeing a Mexican American act in such a childish way that every other fight he's complaining about pay. So you have to look at the underlying issue. What's really going on with this kid? Because most kids his age are fighting for 20,000, I'm sorry, 30,000, 40, 50,000. Unless, like you said, there's the Shakurs, there's the Teofimos, there's the Haneys. But the reason why those guys are getting paid bigger bucks is because they stepped up their competition. They're fighting the bigger names. And it's just, Instagram follows do not equate a bucks as much as maybe they could sell t-shirts and they could say, you know what, I'm sending you equipment, or I don't know, maybe you get sponsored by some major company. That's great and all, but it doesn't necessarily translate into boxing, especially not through a pandemic when you can't sell tickets. So to me, again, I almost don't like talking to him, but I can't keep this kid out of my mouth. No pun intended. I'm not a big fan of him, but we have to talk about him. We have to talk about the shit he does, because he kind of stalls boxing for a bit. Like I said, the July 4th fight was supposed to happen a couple of months back when he was supposed to fight Duno. He didn't because his opponent fell off. Big mess. He didn't fight. They found another opponent for him. He didn't fight. Okay, he moved on. Then he went on social media. He cried wolf. He said, Golden Boy's not paying me this money. And Golden Boy knew that there's more money to be made with the kid. So they what I believe, they swallowed their ego. They saw the shit talk from Ryan towards Oscar, and they said, you know what, it's okay. We're in this type of business. Let's renegotiate the contract. From my understanding, the contract was anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000 minimum per fight, and that's what Ryan, and I quote, signed a lucrative deal. Now that it's all coming afloat, it sounds like that is a deal now. From my understanding, again, from what I saw on Twitter and on a couple of articles that I saw out there, this is what they're willing to pay him, his minimum. Now, again, most guys are not even getting their quote-unquote minimum because there's no money to be made, because there's no tickets being sold. You have to completely rely on what the network or the streaming site is able to pay for the fight. No one is coughing up other than the big sponsors. Again, and this sponsor usually means, again, your ESPN, ESPN Plus, or DAZN or Showtime, whenever the fuck they decide to come back to boxing. So there's no additional money to be made. Golden Boy, from my understanding, is saying, you know what, we're going to pay you your minimum. Just come back and fight. But Ryan feels, because he hears Shakur making $400,000 in this fight during the pandemic. He hears David Haney, of course, getting received for a ridiculous amount of money, almost about $1 million a person. Now I'm sure he'll get maybe not as much, but quite significant amount of money. And Ryan, because again he renegotiated, he signed his words, lucrative boxing deal, feels entitled to more money. And that's what, again, I'm a big advocate of fighters making as much money as you possibly can. But when you have a contract and then you raise the contract and the promoter, even if they have you under contract, which they don't have to move, but they're saying, okay, you know what, let's work together, let's make another contract. You agree, you make this big fuss, that you're this big name, and now not only are you picking fights with what doesn't even look like he's picking a fight with Golden, but he's picking a fight with the Zone. Now it's a problem again. So and not only that, but we've seen this kid have problem with management, with trainers, with everybody. So you have to sit back and say, you know what? What's really the problem? Is it Zone? Is it Golden Boy? Is it all these past trainers, or is it you? From the looks of it, it's him. It's his parents. Just a bad behaved kid. And again, I kind of feel bad for him because it almost seems like the kid is really hurting for money because he wants to live that life. He wants to drive the expensive cars. He wants to, live in a highly desired area in Southern California. I mean, he's a kid that came from living in probably one of the ugliest places in the world, and I'm not talking about ugly like Compton, but ugly as in weather-wise. He lived in the desert in the middle of nowhere. This kid came from Victorville, and all of a sudden he moved to one of the nicest places just because Canelo lives there. He moves to San Diego, and he decides that, and he buys all these cars, so he tries to be about that life, and again, the money, of course, isn't there yet, but he somehow wants to complain about pay. My personal thing is, bench his ass. Do what Top Rank did with Mikey Garcia, and bench him. You want to fight him in court? Fight him in court. You offered him a fight? Great. Most of the time, every time you offer a fighter a fight, he declines, you have the ability to bench him. Because you actually, as a company, you did the right thing. You offered a fighter a fight. He declined it. That's on him. That gets his contract extended. Fight his contract. Let him keep extending his contract. Bench his ass for as long as he doesn't want to fight. And when he does want to fight, give him a good opponent at this point. Give him a good opponent. If he wants to fight for those big bucks, get him a fight that's worthy of it. Get him a Tank. Get him a Haney. Get him a Teofimo. Those are the fights that he wants. Those fights are worth a lot of money. If he wants to get that $1 million payday, give him those fucking fights. Give him that pay-per-view. Problem solved. But he has to understand that the reason why he's not fighting those Teofimos, he's not fighting those Haneys, he's not fighting even the Shakurs, is because those type of fighters will beat the shit out of him. He's not ready. Golden Boy, their job is to protect their fighter as much as they possibly can, while at the same time developing their fighters into what they could be at one point as a world champion. Ryan does not have that caliber. It's not in him to be a legitimate champion. He could get a belt, but a legitimate champion, I just don't see it. I really hope I'm wrong, because I want to see the kid win. I'm tired of seeing him complain. He fights more with, let's think about it. Let's think about this. He's fighting arguing on Twitter with a guy like Abner Mares. A guy like Abner Mares, let's say he does fight. He could beat Abner Mares, and then so what? What do we get from that? Abner Mares is, 122-pounder. Ryan's a 135-pounder bursting at the seams. I'm sorry. I said seams. But the fact of the matter, those type of fights do not make sense, because I get it. The younger, bigger fighter tends to beat up on those smaller, older fighter, to pass the torch. But that's not a way to pass the torch, especially the way Abner is. There's no secret out there. Abner doesn't have great eyes, and things have happened to his eyes before. And imagine, I know Golden Boy's not fond of Abner Mares, but the fact of the matter is that I don't think they would want that in their hands, saying that they made a complete mismatch. And again, I am not knocking on Abner Mares, because I'm a big fan of Abner Mares. But weight-wise, it's not responsible matchmaking. So making a fight between Ryan Garcia and Abner Mares is irresponsible matchmaking, because what about if Abner does get hurt? What about if he hurts his eye? What about if he turns blind? Like, what was it, Izzy Vasquez? From my understanding, he can't see from one eye now. You don't want that in your hands. If you can prevent it, you do not want that in your hands. Because trying to make a fight between Ryan Garcia and Abner Mares is really going out of your way to fuck things up and purposely fuck up a fight. Again, from my understanding, based on the rumors that I heard, the fighters that Ryan was supposed to fight and the fighters that he was supposed to make $200,000 with was first runner-up was Mercito Gesta. Of course, you guys that follow me on Instagram, you guys know I'm always reposting Mercito Gesta because he does work with Adidas Boxing. So I try to post him as much as I can. And also Hector Donahara Jr., which is another great kid. Beautiful jab. As experienced as Ryan is. And I think either guy would have been a great opponent for Ryan Garcia. Again, developmental fights. If they could he have lost? Quite possibly. Why not? Mercito's not a pushover. I mean, Mercito had a great fight with Jorge Linares. He came up short, but just slightly short. He had a fight with Carlos Morales. Again, same thing. He's fought those type of fights before, and he's done okay for himself. So why not? So yeah, that's that with the kid. I'm just sick and tired of seeing this kid and talking about this kid, and it kind of pisses me off every time I talk. But you guys ask me these questions. You guys tell me when are you going to talk about this kid. I'll post on Instagram just to troll everybody, but that's exactly what it is. As far as anything else going in boxing, let's see. Canelo is supposed to make a comeback, and it's not against Billy Joe Sanders. It is against who it is against. I mean, you hear all these names, but it's supposed to fight sometime in September now. Oh, Deverenchenko. There you go, Deverenchenko. I think I'm saying it right, or I'm saying it ultra paisa. Either way, it was Deverenchenko. Canelo's supposed to fight Deverenchenko. At least that's the rumor that's going around. If that's the case, great, because fighting a guy like Billy Joe Saunders is just going to piss everybody else off. Billy Joe Saunders is a reincarnation of Erislandy Lara, and that's a fight that it's a stylistic fucking mess. The last time Canelo fought a guy like that, like I said, is Lara. Yeah, Canelo chased him all around, and it makes him look bad because, yes, Canelo's, pretty much getting slapped around throughout the ring, but he's the one being effective. So it's so hard to judge those fights because, again, one guy's moving around and popping him with his jab. The other guy is just chasing another guy around trying to make a fight. So it's not a very desirable fight. Canelo doesn't have the legs to go after a guy like Billy Joe Sanders. So will he beat Billy Joe Sanders? Yes, probably. Would he be excited? Absolutely not. So why even bother with that fight? It doesn't make entertainment sense. And again, this is when you put your matchmaker hat on and you say, is this really the best interest for boxing, for boxing's entertainment, or just for those purists that want to say, oh, this guy has a belt, so we should fight this guy? No, it doesn't excite me. It's not gonna, get me off my seat. It's just gonna be one of those fights with Canelo who tries to chase somebody down and eventually maybe stops them or just wins on points. And I don't want to see that. I want to see actual action. Another thing, let's see, who else? Oh, Michaela Meyer was supposed to be in this fight, but of course she tested positive for the Rona, so be careful, guys. Just because you guys are young doesn't mean you guys can't get this shit. And again, I think this is a clear example from Michaela that, yeah, if you're young, that's cool. You can get this shit, but again, you can't spread it to other people. This girl didn't have any fucking symptoms. She was good. Everything was good, and she didn't know she had it, but God knows how long she's had it too. So be careful out there, guys, and especially you fighters. I know there's a bunch of fighters that listen to this podcast. Be careful. Just because you're healthy doesn't mean you can't give it to somebody else. And remember, our parents, our grandparents, our older folks, our uncles, they can't take this shit as well as you and I can. This road is something else. Of course, it's been a year already since Andy Ruiz won the fight. I think it was last week or this week, early this week. Was the year that Andy Ruiz went to Madison Square Garden and beat the shit, honestly, out of Anthony Joshua. I don't know what happened to Anthony Joshua there, but he ended up, knocking out Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz got back up. Felt like he was in a cage, and Anthony Joshua got careless, and boom, knocked Anthony Joshua out. Became the unified heavyweight champion. That was the first time a Mexican was ever crowned a heavyweight champion. Not even a Mexican. He's Mexican American. Let's be honest. As a matter of fact, we're American Mexican. We're more American, unfortunately, than Mexican. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just the way it is. But we're not. He's of Mexican descent, whatever the fuck that means. But nonetheless, he was paraded around. The politicians in Mexico wanted him around, and then he ended up getting a rematch, which was, of course, a lot more money. And Andy Ruiz ended up blowing the rematch because, again, he partied and drank a little too much during his off time, which is absolutely horseshit. How do you not protect those belts once you already have them? So again, it's been a year since he won the belt. He went, like I said, and went and lost the belts. And then he went and became a Fashion No One model. And he sells CBD online while he posts old clips of him knocking formidable opponents down. So not much of Andy Ruiz has happened. He keeps telling everybody that he's training, he's doing this, he's doing that. I really wish Andy well. I think he's a very kind-hearted person, it almost seems. Very likable guy. I talked to him, I interviewed him before. Very, very nice guy, but I really hope he does something else in boxing. I think he lit up people's imaginations. He made the underdog believe, and I really hope we get to see that version of Andy Ruiz fight again. Because, I mean, what he did, and again, becoming a unified, not only a Mexican heavyweight champion, but a unified Mexican heavyweight champion of the world was a special thing. And if he remotely does something close to it, or even wins some sort of fraction of the heavyweight crown, I think that's amazing. So, Andy, get your shit together. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. One quick thing, and I did something on Instagram, and I want to do it here. Ethica and my boy Marty, Kyle, they sent me a bunch of stuff. A bunch of underwear, socks, masks, a bunch of stuff from Ethica. So do me a favor, guys, and make sure you guys follow Ethica or go to their page. Make sure you guys say, Mr. Boxing Guru sent me. It's at Ethica, yeah, good people, good stuff, really good underwear, guys. And it's the same underwear you see your favorite fighter go into the weigh-in. So big shout out to them again. That's Ethica. That's at ETHIKA. Again, that's Ethica or Ethica.com. They also have a bunch of stuff for girls called Ethica at Ethica Girls. So make sure you guys follow them. They do a lot of giveaways and whatnot. So reach out to them, guys. I'll try to do another podcast. Boxing is finally back. We have something to talk about. We have stuff to complain about. We have stuff to ridicule. But the great thing is, boxing is back for us to enjoy. I'll try to continue to do as many podcasts as I possibly can. It looks like I might have the ability to do them a lot more often. I think I got all the non-boxing stuff I needed to do out of my system, so it's now back to dedicate myself to boxing in some sort of way here. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at MrBoxingguru and at MrBoxingguru Podcast. I will start posting a bit more stuff there. Also on Twitter at MrBoxingguru. I also have a Facebook page it's just the same thing, MrBoxingguru as well. And that's it. Oh, also try to follow me on YouTube. Again, same thing at MrBoxingguru or MrBoxingguru Podcast. On iTunes, make sure you guys leave a review. I am going to start doing giveaways, whether it's stuff from whether it's gloves, whether it's stuff from Ethica, or whether it's just any other sponsor that I might pick up here and there for you guys. We would definitely do that. Of course, it's going to be for anybody that subscribes on YouTube. Like I said, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Spreaker. So yeah, that's that, guys. Again, thank you so much. This is it for the Mr. Boxing Guru podcast. Adios.
Dicen que lo fusilaron, otros que se fue muy lejos.